Good morning, everyone. In today's session, we'll be learning about Introduction to Theodolite Survey. I am N.S. Chandanshri, Assistant Professor in Department of Civil Engineering in M.S. Ramaiah University of Applied Sciences. So, in this session, we'll be learning about the usage, what is theodolite. Then we'll also learn about its temporary and the permanent adjustments. Then we'll learn about different phase observations, and we'll also learn about different operations that are performed using theodolite. And we'll also look into the topic how to take the horizontal angle measurements and readings, and how to note down the vertical angle readings. So this theodolite, it is used to measure the horizontal and vertical angles. So this horizontal and vertical angles can be measured using the theodolite. There are two plates with the graduated reading, circular plates with a graduated reading, through which we can take this horizontal and vertical angle reading, and these scales are attached with a vernier scale to it. When the objects are at considerable distances or situated at considerable elevations or depression, it becomes necessary to take the or to make the horizontal and the vertical angles more precisely. So these measurements can be taken with the help of a device known as theodolite. Now this theodolite can multitask, and by the measurements of these horizontal and vertical angles, we can indirectly measure the distances, and that is completely a separate topic which can be covered under trigonometric leveling. Next is, if we compare this theodolite, as I told you, this theodolite is a multitasking instrument. If we compare this with the normal compass, it is more accurate than the compass readings. So the least count that we get in compass is 30 seconds, but the least count that is obtained in case of a theodolite somewhere around 10 to 20 seconds. So some theodolites are manufactured for 10 with the least count of 10 seconds, and some with the least count of 20 seconds. Next is, these are the following uses of a theodolite. So theodolite is more accurate surveying instrument which is mainly used for, one is measurement of the horizontal angles, next one is measurement of the vertical angles, then next is measurement of deflection angles. So deflection angles means, now let us say there is a road and we need to change the direction of the alignment, then the deflection angle is this angle delta. This deflection angle is very helpful in setting out the curve in this type of condition, or certain to know the angle of deviation from the original path. Next usage is measuring the magnetic bearings of a line. So this is the instrument, this is theodolite, and this can be used as a replacement to magnetic bearing, because as I told earlier, this is the horizontal plate and this is the vertical plate through which we will take horizontal angle reading and the vertical angle reading respectively. The horizontal plate can be set to 0 degrees 0 minutes 0 seconds, and then it can be oriented towards the north and readings can be taken. So that readings, when the readings are taken in such a way, we can actually measure the magnetic bearings. Then it is useful for ranging a line. Now if you want to prolong a line, we have constructed the line till here, and if you want to prolong a line or range this line, we can use a theodolite. This telescope can be used for that purpose. Next is finding vertical height of an object. So it is also, vertical height is nothing but elevation of an object, then finding the difference between elevation between different points. So this theodolite can even act as a leveling instrument. Next is measuring the horizontal distance between 2 points. With the help of the angles calculated, we can even measure the horizontal distance indirectly. So these are the following things which we can do with the help of a theodolite. Next is classification of this theodolite. So there are several different types of theodolite, but the basic principle of that we have to keep in mind is these theodolites will have one horizontal plate and one vertical plate, from where the horizontal angle and the vertical angles can be noted. So these can be classified under two major categories. One is transit theodolite and non-transit theodolite. The other one is vernier theodolites and micrometer theodolites. So these are classification depending on the movements. These are depending on the measurements or scales used. So in this case, transit theodolite, the theodolite can have free rotation, but in case of non-transit theodolite, it is difficult to have the rotation like this. Then the vernier theodolite. Vernier theodolite has vernier scales. Micrometer theodolites have the different scales there. Then the theodolite is called a transit theodolite when the telescope can be transited, that is revolved through the complete revolution about its horizontal axis in the vertical plane. That means if this theodolite here, if this telescope present here can revolve in all the 360 degrees, then it is called as a transit theodolite. But this is non-transit theodolite, wherein telescope cannot be transited, that is movement of telescope is restricted. They are inferior in utility and have become obsolete now. Now no one is using non-transit theodolite. Then vernier theodolite, for the readings, the graduated circle of vernier scale of vernier scales are used, and the theodolite is called as vernier theodolite. Whereas for the micrometer, it is micrometer theodolite, it is provided to read the graduated circle, the same circle, it has the graduated circle there, and it is called as micrometer theodolite. Next is there are different types of theodolite available. It might be classified into three broader categories. One is vernier or transit theodolite, the other one is digital theodolite, and the next one is the total station. First one, vernier theodolite, we studied, we just went through just now, and we will go in detail after this. Now we will talk about digital theodolite. Digital theodolite, or this type of theodolite, provides the observation directly in viewing panel. So whatever we observe, the readings are directly seen here in the viewing panel. The precision of this type of instrument varies in the order of 1 second to 10 seconds. So that is what is mentioned here. That means this is the least count value. Next is total station. It's an electronic instrument. In this instrument, all the parameters required to be observed during the survey can be obtained. That means in case of a total station, we can measure horizontal distance, we can measure vertical distances, we can measure sloping distances, we can measure horizontal angles, we can measure vertical angles, we can measure northing, easting, elevation, and all of these things can be found out using total station here. The value of observation gets displayed in the viewing panel. This is the viewing panel. We have two display panel here. One is here, the other one is here. The precision here is from 0.1 second to 10 seconds. So this total station is more precise than that of the digital theodolite. Next is transit vernier theodolite. Now let us understand certain parts of this transit theodolite. So it looks like this. The cross section of a transit theodolite will look like this. So this is the cross section of the same theodolite that is used here. Now first one is it will have vertical axis, that is axis of the telescope, vertical axis when the telescope is kept like this. Then this telescope will have a object piece here and an eyepiece here. So eyepiece and object piece is done. Next, it will have this entire thing is a telescope, and this will have an altitude bubble here. Altitude, there are two altitude bubbles which are present here. One will be present here, the other one will be present near this horizontal plate. Next is vertical clamping screws. Now this vertical clamping screw is this is the bubble. Vertical clamping screw is very helpful in tightening the vertical tightening the telescope. So when we are seeing the measuring any measurements, when we are doing any measurements, it is very important that the telescope stays in its position. So that can be tightened using this clamping screws. Next is Turnnian axis. Turnnian axis is this axis. This is the Turnnian axis, and this is the vertical circle from which we take the readings of the observations. Next is plate level. So here we have plate level, here we have altitude bubble. So when we center or level the instrument, both the bubble should be at the center. Next we have upper plate and a lower plate. So this dark blue thing that is shown here is an upper plate, and this is the lower plate. So what happens is, when we now both the upper plate and the lower plate can be clamped with the help of clamping. There are screws, clamping screws, which are used to clamp the upper and the lower plate. Now if we unclamp the lower plate, it means that the entire theodolite is rotating. But if we unclamp the upper plate, now readings also will start changing. So the readings will only change if we unclamp or if we release the upper clamp or upper plate. So when we have to take the horizontal reading, we should always be careful that while taking the reading, lower clamp should be locked and a lower plate should be locked, and the upper plate should be unlocked. Next is inner spindle and the outer spindle. Then we have tri-batch and tri-wet. So tri-batch, and there are two base here. This is leveling head. So tri-batch and tri-wet, and it is mounted on a tripod leg. Then we will learn about different parts of the theodolite. So first one is leveling head. It is the lowermost part of the theodolite. It consists of two parallel horizontal plates separated by three leveling screws. So two parallel plates, this plate and this plate, and three foot screws. Here only in this diagram only two are shown, the other one is perpendicular to this. So there are three leveling screws. The lower plate with a larger thread hole in its center is called as a tri-wet or a foot plate. It provides a means to place the instrument on the tripod, and it gets screwed. Its central aperture provides a way for suspending the plumb bob. Now this is trivet. So there is a vent here. This has thread system through which we can mount the instrument on the tripod, and this vent will also help in attaching a plumb bob to the system here. Next plate is the upper plate of the leveling head, and this is called as tri-brach. So it consists a tapered bearing at the center, and it has 3 arms, each carrying a leveling screw. It provides a support for the upper part of the instrument. The principal use of this leveling head is to provide a means of leveling to the instrument. So now this is the leveling head. Now this leveling head is provided so that this entire instrument that is used here is leveled. The reason for it to keep it leveled is when we have to measure the horizontal reading, the horizontal plane, the horizontal axis of this telescope and the horizontal plane should coincide. If it doesn't coincide, if we set our instrument like this or like this, then we are going to get the erroneous results. Next is lower plate. Lower plate, it's a horizontal circular plate monolithically constructed with the outer spindle. A scale is engraved at its beveled edge with divisions in the degrees and minutes. So it will increase when we move it in the clockwise direction. It provides the main scale reading of a horizontal angle and a means to fix or unfix the whole instrument. So as I told earlier, this lower plate, if it is loosened, or if it is if it is loosened, then we can turn the entire instrument in whichever direction we want. It will help the instrument, or it will facilitate the movement of the instrument in all the 360 degrees. Next is upper plate. It is a horizontal circular plate monolithically constructed with the inner spindle. It is fitted with 2 diametrically opposite vernier scales, which are designated as vernier A and vernier B. Functions of upper plates are to support a pair of magnifiers for the verniers. So a pair of plate levels and a pair of support frame for the telescope, and a means, and this also will serve as a means to fix or unfix the upper plate of the instrument with its lower plate. Next is plate level. A pair of level tubes are placed at the right angles on the upper plate, and these are used to make the vertical axis of the instrument truly vertical. That is, we have to level the instrument. Next is standard or a frame of the instrument. Two standards resembling the English letter A. That is, these are the supporting frames. So like this, there is one more frame on the other side. This is standard frame. This will support the support the entire instrument. The tops of these standards form a bearing of the pivots of the telescope, allowing it to rotate on its Turnian axis and in the vertical plane. The T frame and the arm of the vertical circle clamp are also attached to the standards. So this we can observe in this figure. So in this figure also we can see this is the A frame. Same A frame is on the other side, and here we can see that the tangent circle and the tightening screws and vertical circle and the level here, everything is fixed to this frame, and this frame everything is pivoted here, and this frame will help this telescope to rotate around its axis. Next is vernier frame. It's also called as a T frame or index frame. Consists of a vertical leg known as clipping arm and a horizontal bar called as index arm. So which looks like this. Engraved with vernier C and D. So this is there in vertical circle. So in the vertical circle, in the horizontal circle, the readings are marked from 0 degrees to again coming back to 360 degrees. And there we have openings from where we can take the readings, and those verniers are called as A and B, designated with the letter A and B. Similarly, in case of vertical circle, the letters that are used to designate the vernier readings are C and D. They are having two scales which increase in the opposite direction. So it is used as a seat for altitude bubble and also provides the vernier reading for the vertical angle measurements. So they increase in the opposite direction. Means if this is the vertical circle, it is marked from 0 to 0 here 180. So this is like 30, 90, 120 and 180 degrees. The other side it is 0, 30, then 90, 120 and 180 on this side. So this is how the vertical scale graduation is there. But in case of the horizontal scale graduation, we can see the readings change from 0 to 360 degree. So these two verniers that are present here named as C and D will take the readings here. Next part is the telescope. The function of the telescope is to provide the line of sight. The length of the telescope varies from 100 mm to 175 mm. Most of the theodolites have internal focusing telescope. Next is vertical circle. Vertical circle is attached with the Turnian axis and it is engraved with the scale readings of vertical angle in degrees and minutes. The vertical circle is divided into 4 quadrants, each being 90 degrees with and this is placed this provides the main scale reading for the vertical angle. So main scale readings, in the main scale readings we can measure only degrees and minutes. In the vernier we can measure minutes and seconds. Next is altitude bubble. A sensitive level tube placed on the vernier frame is called altitude bubble. It is used to make horizontal axis truly horizontal. Next is the screws that are present here. A theodolite has number of screws and we can divide those number of screws into 3 major categories. One is leveling screws, the other one is clamp screws, and the third one is tangent screws. So let us understand each of them. Leveling screws, these are present in the leveling head of a theodolite between trivet and tribatch. So there are 3 leveling screws. There are multiple systems of leveling screws. You can have 3 foot screw system, or we can even have 4 foot screw system. So this leveling, there are 3 leveling screws like that. They are in between trivet and tribatch, and these work in thread holes in the tribatch arm, and their lower ends rest in the recess in the trivet. These screws are used for leveling the instrument. So now these are the leveling screws. As I told earlier, these are the 2 leveling screw. There is one more. Totally there are 3 leveling screws present. So if you see the instrument here, one is here, the other one is here, the other one is in the opposite side. Now these are embedded in between tribatch and a trivet, and by turning these threads here, we can actually level theodolite with which they are attached. Now there are lower clamp screws, one for major one for the upper plate, one for the lower plate, and another one is for the vertical plate. Now lower plate clamp screw, it is attached to the lower plate of the theodolite. When it is tightened, the outer spindle gets fixed with the tri-batch, and thus the lower plate gets fixed in the position. Now upper plate clamp screw, it is attached with the upper plate of the theodolite. When it is tightened, the inner spindle gets fixed with the outer spindle, and thus the upper plate also gets fixed in its position. Next we have vertical plate clamp screw. It is used to clamp the telescope in any place, and hence the desired vertical angle can be found out. Now these upper plate screws and the lower plate screws, when they are operated continuously, we can take the readings, and that we will study now. The manipulation of the upper plate and the lower plate clamp screws provide three conditions. When both upper plate and the lower plate clamp screws are tightened. So when both are tightened, the instrument gets completely fixed. So we cannot rotate or we cannot revolve in the horizontal plane. Next is when the upper plate clamp screw is tightened and the lower plate clamp screw is opened. Then the instrument rotates on its outer axis, but there is no changes in the reading. So the readings on the plate will not change. Next condition is when the lower plate is tightened and the upper plate clamp screw is opened. Now in this condition also instrument rotates, but it rotates with the inner axis, and the readings in the horizontal plate will change. So these are the three conditions which can happen, or three combinations which can happen with the opening and closing of a upper plate clamp screw and a lower plate clamp screw. Next comes the tangent screws. With each clamping screw, there is a tangent screw, and that tangent screw is present in the instrument to provide the finer movements. So these tangent screws work only after the clamping screws get tightened. So previously we talked about upper plate clamp screw and a lower plate clamp screw. Each clamp screws are associated with one tangent screws, even for the vertical plate. Now these screws will get activated once you clamp that. These are only used for the finer movements. Next is tripod stand. So this theodolite should be mounted on a stand, and that is a tripod stand wherein this instrument is mounted, and the legs of the tripod are they are having a solid frame, aluminum frame. The lower ends of the legs have the pointed feature which helps us to fix the instrument to the ground more firmly. Next part is the diaphragm. Diaphragm is nothing but it's a brass ring that consists of a crosshair. So now this is the crosshair. When we look into the telescope, we see this kind of crosshair which is present there. It is placed in position by turning the four head screws, and can be moved up or down or sideways when required. It is fixed in the front of the eyepiece. So the crosshair may be made of fine platinum wire. Next, we will learn about certain terms associated with the theodolite. The first one is centering. Centering is the process of setting up a theodolite on the ground station. It is known as, and this setting up process is known as centering the instrument. Next definition is the vertical axis. This is the axis about which the instrument rotates on the horizontal plane. So this axis passes through the telescope. Next is horizontal axis. It is the axis about which the telescope along with the vertical circle rotates in the vertical plane, and this is known as Sternian axis. Line of collimation, next definition, the line of line of collimation is the line passing through the intersection of crosshairs of the diaphragm, that is this point from the center point, crosshairs of the diaphragm, and the optic centers of objectives is called as line of sight. Next is axis of plate bubble. It's a straight line tangential to the longitudinal curve of the plate, but tangential to the longitudinal curve of the plate level tube at its center. Now in this image we can see certain terminologies which we saw now. This is the line of sight. Line of sight is the line passing from the intersection of the crosshairs through the optic center of the telescope, and then this is the vertical axis, this is the horizontal axis. This horizontal axis that is present here is also called as Sternian axis. Then we have two plates, which graduated plates which are attached. One is horizontal plate, the other one is the vertical plate. Horizontal plate is helpful in taking the horizontal angle reading, and the vertical plate is helpful in taking the vertical angle reading. Next, there are two terms that are used. One is face left observation and the other one is face right observation. Face left observation means while we are taking the readings, if the vertical circle is towards the left of the observer, then it is called as the face left observation. Next, face right observation. Similarly, when the object or when the while taking the readings, if the vertical circle is towards the right of the observer, then it is called as face right observation. In this condition, the telescope is also in the inverted condition. Transiting or plunging the telescope. The process of turning the telescope through 180 degrees in the vertical plane is known as transiting process. So in this image, while talking about transit and non-transit theodolite, we learnt that transit theodolite is the one in which you can rotate this telescope in the entire 360 degree motion, but non-transit telescope you cannot rotate. So this transiting or plunging means rotating the telescope around that axis, around the. Next is changing the phase and swinging the telescope. Changing the phase means operation of bringing the vertical circle from left to right or right to left. This is called as changing the phase. That is changing the phase from face left to face right or face right to face left. Next is swinging the telescope. This process of rotating the telescope about the vertical axis is called as swinging the telescope. Now this, we have to keep one thing in mind. If the telescope face is towards the left, then we have to swing right. That means when the telescope is in face left condition, we have to swing right to take the reading. When the telescope in face left condition, we have to swing right to take the readings. So when we take the readings, one set of readings should be taken with face right observation and the other one should be taken with face left observation, and the average of those things can be taken as the reading of that instrument. Next we have temporary in the temporary adjustments. We will now learn about what are the 3 temporary adjustments that we do for the instrument. So first one is centering the instrument. As discussed earlier, there is a hook in the tri-batch for the trivet for the placement of plumbing bob. So now first we have to set the instrument at the station. So first work would be, you have to place the stand. First we have to mark the point on which we are going to set and then center the instrument. Centering the instrument means the the center of the instrument should be exactly on top of the ground point selected for the survey. So that is centering the instrument. Next is leveling the instrument. So leveling the instrument means when we consider this theodolite, it has to be mounted on a tripod stand. This tripod stand has to be kept in level. On this we are going to mount the instrument. Now this instrument cannot be placed in an inclined way or the horizontal axis cannot change. So what we do is, with the help of the leveling 3 leveling screws, we will level the instrument. Now how do we level? It is shown in this figure. So if we clearly observe this figure, so this is the base of the theodolite. 3 screw system, 3 screws are present, leveling screws are present here, and this is 3 screw system. So our first process in leveling would be, choose any 2 foot screws and keep the telescope parallel to the 2 foot screws. Now rotate both the screws inward or both the screws outward to note down the to get this bubble to the center. This bubble should come to the center. So we can turn it both inward or both outward. So never turn both clockwise or both anti-clockwise, nothing like that. It is only both inward or both outward. After this, the second figure talks about it. Here, once we have leveled, brought the level to the center using these 2 foot screws, now keep the telescope perpendicular to the 3rd foot screw. Keep the telescope in line with the 3rd foot screw or perpendicular to the earlier 2 foot screws. Then again move only this 3rd foot screw either in clockwise or in anti-clockwise direction to get this bubble to the center. Then once the bubble comes to the center using both the using all the 3 foot screws, then the instrument is said to be leveled. Next step is, after centering and leveling, next step is focusing. So focusing, it has 2 parts: focusing the eyepiece and focusing the object lens. Eyepiece is this. Eyepiece is present here and this is the object piece. So both are lenses, so we have to clearly focus that lenses, otherwise we will not be able to see the objects. So focusing the eyepiece, what we have to do, we have to turn a knob which is present on the eyepiece there until the crosshairs becomes clearly or distinctly visible. The crosshairs here, it should be clear to the observer. If there is any kind of disturbance or blurriness, we have to turn the knob and set it right. Next is focusing the object piece. So focusing the object piece means sight it any one of the any object near or far from the theodolite. Better somewhere in the midway you set the telescope. You select the object and focus to that object. So that object should be clearly visible. Otherwise, there is a turning knob which will facilitate to reduce the blur and make the object distinctly available. Next, there are two methods, major methods by which the angles are measured. One is repetition method, the other one is reiteration method. So to briefly explain about this, method of repetition means, now let us say we want the angle AOB. So we set the instrument at station O, then hold a ranging rod at point A and point B, then after centering, leveling and focusing of the instrument, then first set the vernier A. Now we are measuring horizontal angles. So we will only look into horizontal plate readings. So there what we do is, we will set the horizontal vernier A and B to we can set it to 0 and start, or we can even note down the first reading and subtract with the second one. That is also possible, but it would be better if we set it at 0 degrees, 0 minutes and 0 seconds. After setting it, focus to the point A. Now initial reading at A is 0 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Next, now while taking the reading, both the upper clamp and the lower clamp screws are tightened. Once we finish taking the readings from point O to A, then release the upper clamp and turn the telescope. When we release the upper clamp and turn, only the upper plate moves, but the lower plate will not move. So when the upper plate moves, the reading is taken. Now let us say for the first trial we got the value θ1. Again, once we reach B here for the first time, lock upper clamp so that the reading should get locked. Now open the lower clamp and again focus back to point A and lock it. So now what has happened? The reading θ1, initial reading was 0 degrees. First reading was θ1. Now for the second trial, initial reading is θ1, and again repeat the same procedure. Again when we come back to B, it is θ2. Now similarly, for the third trial, the starting reading is θ2 and the reading when it's sighted to B is θ3. Now actual angle AOB in the first trial is θ1 minus θ, that is 0 degrees. In the second trial it is θ2 difference of θ1. Next trial it is θ2 difference of θ3. Now we get one values x, y, z, and average of x, y, z is the angle. So average of this value is the horizontal angle. This process is called method of repetition. That's what is mentioned here. Next method is method of reiteration. So in the method of reiteration, what we do is, this is another precise method and it is comparatively less tedious method in measuring the horizontal angle. So it is generally preferred when several angles are to be measured at a particular station. So this method consists of measuring several angles successively and finally choosing the horizon at the station point. So final readings of vernier A should be same as the initial reading. That means, now let us say we start the survey at the point A and we go in this direction, in the clockwise direction. Now this kind of survey is very important, or it becomes more accurate or crucial in case of in the places where more number of details has to be taken on the horizontal plane. Then what we do is, the procedure is, we have to set the instrument at station A. We have to set the instrument at station A, set the reading to 0 degrees, 0 minutes and 0 seconds, or we can even note down the initial reading. Then move the telescope. That means now we have to clamp the lower screw until we come back, like A, B, C, D, again come back to A. We have to keep the lower screw locked. Once now only the upper screw is moving. From A to B when it moves, we will get the angle theta 1. Again, if we subtract the reading at B minus reading at A, we will get theta 1. Similarly, move your telescope from B to D. So when you move from B to D, again the reading at D minus the reading at B will give us theta 2. Again similarly, move it to C. So the reading at C minus the reading at D will give us theta 3. Next, when we come to C, again move it back to A. So the reading at A minus the reading at C will give you theta 4. So it should be exactly the same reading, which it should exactly be the same reading at where we started. Now, if it is not same, then error will exist. So that error has to be equally distributed to all these angles that are measured here, like theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 and theta 4. The procedure what I explained now is told here. Next, this was about method of radiation, and method of reiteration was about the measurement of horizontal angle. Next is measurement of vertical angles. So vertical angle is the angle between inclined line of sight and the horizontal. So it may be angle of elevation or angle of depression as shown in the figure here. So with respect to the horizontal line, we can measure angle of elevation or angle of depression in this using this theodolite. Now if you want the angle, vertical angle between two objects, these two objects A and B, in case there are three cases. In case A, we will see that these two objects A and B are, one object A is above the horizontal line, the other one is below the horizontal line. So we cannot directly measure the angle from angle AOB. So what we do, we measure from this baseline to A and baseline to B, that is alpha and beta. So the angle AOB can be calculated using the formula alpha plus beta. That means we have to add these two things. Next case here is from the horizontal line. Here we, in this case, both the objects A and B are in angle of elevation. So there, if we want the angle AOB, then what happens? Initially when we measure the angle, when we measure, we will measure the angle, this angle, and we'll measure this angle. So we subtract, if we subtract those two things, we'll get this. So we can even measure alpha plus beta, that is also possible, or we can do it in this way. Next is third case, wherein both the objects are in angle of depression. So there also we can do the same procedure. That's what is explained here. Next, the last topic would be the operations performed using the telescope. Now this using the theodolite. Now this theodolite, as told earlier, it is a multitasking instrument, and it can perform several other tasks. This is the device which can replace so many of the other devices that we use in surveying. So first one is to measure the magnetic bearing of a line. So to measure the magnetic bearing, what we should do is, we should first set the initial reading of the horizontal calculate to 0 degrees, 0 minutes and 0 seconds. So once we set that, keep a magnetic compass in the center of two A frames, keep it there and turn the telescope, that is lowering the lower screw, still the upper, as we have set the readings to 0 degrees, 0 minutes and 0 seconds, we have to still keep the upper screw clamped. Then turn the lower screw until that 0 degrees 0 minutes coincides with the north direction shown by the theodolite, shown by the magnetic compass. Small pocket compass has to be kept there. Once it is fixed, now clamp the lower screw also, tighten the entire instrument. Now we can remove the magnetic compass and take down the reading. By doing this, we will one is we are increasing the accuracy and we are increasing the precision of survey. Second thing is we are reducing the effect of local attraction. So local attraction is a process where the magnetic or the electric fields will influence the movement of the magnetic needle. So there, when we do this, there will not be any chance of error that can exist due to these kinds of forces. Next operation is to measure the direct angles. To measure the direct angles means if you want to measure an angle, horizontal angle between 2 points as we studied earlier, or if we want to measure the vertical angle between any 2 points or anything, we can directly measure the angles. So no need of going for indirect calculations or any other tedious work. So this will directly measure the angle. Next is to measure the deflection angles. So deflection angles means now let us say there is a road which goes like this from O, A, B. From O to A and A to B, the alignment has changed its direction. Now we need to calculate the deflection angle. This is the deflection angle delta to lay out a curve here. We use Rankes method for setting out the curve, and in the Rankes method to set out the curve we use this process only. We use this term, that is deflection angle measurement. So instead of calculating it indirectly, we can calculate that using the theodolite. So theodolite can be set at station A, then back sighting can be taken here. So we can fix the reading, then we can turn the telescope by 180 degrees, we can prolong a line and hold a ranging rod here, take the reading here and keep one more ranging rod in the line AB and hold the ranging rod and get the delta value. Next is to prolong a straight line. Now if you want to prolong a straight line, set an instrument here, then initially now the ranging to prolong a straight line means we can conduct ranging using this method. So in the process of ranging, what we can do is we can set the instrument here, we can ask n number of people depending on the length of the line to hold the ranging rod until we reach the end point. Then we can ask them to come in line with the central vertical axis of the telescope that can be guided by the person here. So the telescope, through the telescope when we see two crosshairs. So all the ranging rods people holding the ranging rods can be instructed to come in line with this vertical line. By doing that we will be prolonging a line. Then to run straight line with 2 points. So straight line between 2 points. If there are 2 points here, to run a straight line between that, if the distance is more than one chain length, then ranging is required. We might, if it is not changed properly, instead of reaching from station A to station B, erroneous prolonging or of this line can deviate from the actual path. So that can be avoided using this theodolite. So these are the various functions that are performed by the theodolite. Apart from this, there is one more function which a theodolite can perform, that is now this is the theodolite. So this theodolite next operation is it can act as a leveling instrument also. So in the leveling instrument also we have 3 foot screws. Here also we have 3 foot screws. Horizontal plate reading is not required when we are talking about leveling. Only the telescope reading matters now. What we can do is only major difference between our dumpy level or auto level and the theodolite is theodolite cannot move, or the telescope of the auto level cannot rotate. So what we have to do, we can fix this level of this telescope. How can we fix? We can, the vernier C and the D reading in this vertical plate can be fixed to 0 degrees, 0 minutes and 0 seconds. Once it is fixed to that, that means the telescope is perfectly the telescope axis is perfectly coinciding with horizontal and the vertical axes. Then it is parallel to the horizontal axis. In that case, we can use this instrument as a leveling instrument. So these are the different operations that are conducted using a theodolite. Thank you.